is a live presentation of News Channel Nebraska Sports.
It's time for the 2017 NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show, brought to you by Midwest Bank.
Winnebago taking on Wahoo with an opportunity to get to the Class C1 finals on the line. Wahoo looked pretty good early. Here's a nice little coast-to-coast lay-in by Jacob Ruzicka in a nice game. But Winnebago would keep coming. Pass out to the top of the key, drive inside, and a finish by Black Deer. And then Wingett, of course, getting a dunk. But how about this finish of the first half for Wahoo? Three-pointer coming up for Brendan Lacey.
And welcome to Pinnacle Bank Arena. We are live here on the NCN Sports Now Basketball Show. Glad you're with us, and we are glad to be talking basketball. Panther Nation has officially taken over PBA, and they got a lot to smile about right now with Norfolk leading Omaha South in this semifinal game.
Yeah, absolutely. 49-31 Norfolk with the lead over Omaha South in the fourth quarter. Panthers have been dominant as they try to advance to their first championship game since 2010. We should remind you, our live coverage tonight brought to you by Midwest Bank. We thank you for all of their coverage this week.
He's Eric McKay. I am Brandon Axman, in case you didn't know. We are going to start off in Class C1. Saw a lot of great basketball today, like you'd expect in the state tournament. Winnebago, though, in first or second round action against Wahoo. This one was a three-point contest. We'll see who won.
Winnebago taking on Wahoo with an opportunity to get to the Class C1 finals on the line. Wahoo looked pretty good early. Here's a nice little coast-to-coast lay-in by Jacob Ruzicka in a nice game. But Winnebago would keep coming. Pass out to the top of the key, drive inside, and a finish by Black Deer. And then Wingett, of course, getting a dunk. But how about this finish of the first half for Wahoo? Three-pointer coming up for Brendan Lacey. That looked pretty. Let's do it again. Lacey in transition at the buzzer, hits the three, cuts the Winnebago lead to 5 at the break. In the second half, here Wingett gets elbowed in the mouth, has to sit out for a bit, would later come in with a jersey number 4. But Wahoo would push it with him out of the game. Transition, almost a dunk there from Ruzicka. And later on, Ruzicka finds inside his man for 2. And then Wahoo, Dylan Egger takes it in for 2 to tie the ball game up in the fourth quarter. Then on the opposite end, this time Wingett back out on the floor. Nice drive inside. Puts Winnebago up by 2. And Wahoo continues to come at him. Brendan Lacey would put him up by 3 in the fourth quarter. And then this free throw right here put them up by 3 late. And then one last chance for Winnebago. Their three-pointer would not fall as they are defeated in this one, 55-52.
It takes them out of the game when they get when the calls don't go their way. We can't even look at it, dude. We go down, we barely touch the guy, we get a foul. They catch the ball, they travel almost every time. It slows people down. These are kids. They're out here to play and have fun, and they just want the calls that they get. It's hard playing against 5 against 8 every game.
David Wingett led Winnebago with 13 points in the contest.
He's a great leader. He's a soft-spoken kid, and when he does talk, it's special. And that moment was special because it's not over. It's not over for him. It's not over for my players. Like he said in the huddle, it's just another day. It's just another game. We live for another day. And a lot of these young kids, we told them that you guys got more years.
Reporting in Lincoln, I'm Jay Hanna, NCN Sports Now.
So Winnebago falls by 3. That means Wahoo is heading to the championship. And Eric, I'll be honest, I didn't see this one coming, but Wahoo playing very well. Winnebago always getting everybody's best shot, and this time they fell just short.
That they did, and Winnebago played very well yesterday. Wahoo did as well, opened up a lot of eyes with how well they played against Gothenburg. And give Wahoo credit. They don't have Wingett for 3 minutes, that's when Wahoo pushed the tempo. If you're going to try to push the tempo all game against Winnebago, you will lose. But for those 3 minutes that they didn't have David Wingett, Wahoo took advantage, and they move on to the championship game.
Now they will be playing the winner of SCOTUS and Bishop Neumann. We talked about it last night. These two teams, rivals in Class C1, they meet a lot in the state tournament, specifically in the semifinals in recent years. And this one was a good battle as well between the Shamrocks and Cavaliers. Class C1 semifinals at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's 2 versus 3 as SCOTUS clashes with Bishop Neumann on Friday morning. Now, took SCOTUS a little while to get started, but Dalton Taylor gets the basket inside. He had 12. The Shamrocks trailing the Cavaliers 12-7 after the first quarter of play, but SCOTUS got things going in the second period. Nathan Oshchik from the wing. Count all 3 of those. SCOTUS caught fire. Also, Tate Boone Cannon, the sharpshooter for SCOTUS, coming off the bench. He buries the long-range jumper. The Shamrocks outscored the Cavaliers 8-4 in the second period. Bishop Neumann takes a 16-15 lead into halftime. But coming out of the break, Evan Show Me the Money Shohan. That is a footwork clinic. And next time down the court, Dalton Taylor doing just about the same thing. A lot of success inside for the paint. The Shamrocks are on a roll, but don't count out Jackson Simons. He buries the triple on the run. Bishop Neumann would make a run with this play here. Bishop Neumann takes a 2-point lead heading into the third. Rieg Jurgensmeyer knocks it down. It's 34-32 heading into the final period. And unfortunately for the Shamrocks, Noah Vedral and company took over. Vedral scores 17. Tough defense coupled with the Shamrocks just going cold offensively. And Bishop Neumann goes on for the 48-36 victory.
We didn't make enough shots today. We hit more jump shots in the perimeter than we had been in the past. The past few games, but we didn't make enough of them. And Dalton had, I think, 5 baskets in the paint a little bit. I think Cody may have had 1, but other than that, we didn't get enough shots inside. I think we had 5 or 6 threes in the game, which should be enough for us to win.
Now, Coach Swanson said the Cavaliers switched to a 2-3 zone this contest was something the Shamrocks were not expecting.
They play with a little more intensity. The way the game was being called, they were being aggressive. They were deflecting balls away. The few times we did a good job of penetrating, they got a hand on them, knocked the ball away. We just didn't get good enough possessions offensively there in the fourth quarter.
The Shamrocks graduate 8 seniors, including starters Evan Shohan, Cody Maracek, Dalton Taylor, and Nathan Oshchik. The group has been a part of the program's brightest era in history.
There's not very many programs that can say that they made it 4 years in a row. And coming from where we were at, a 500 team, this senior class, when Cody and Dalton were freshmen, they started their first games during that season. 4 years worth of those guys playing, it means a lot. They've taken the program to highest of heights that this team has seen.
So the Shamrocks will face Winnebago in the 3rd place game on Saturday. I'm Brandon Axelmith in Lincoln reporting, NCN Sports Now. So it is an all Wahoo final here in Class C1. Wahoo Public and Bishop Neumann have a date with destiny tomorrow in the championship. Interesting, Eric, because this was the rubber match between the Shamrocks and Cavaliers. SCOTUS lost to Bishop Neumann by 16 in their first game. Then the next time they played, they beat the Cavaliers by 14. But then it was another big blowout, 12-point victory for the Cavaliers. So these two teams very good, but whenever they met, it was either one team feeling it or the other.
Yeah, and Bishop Neumann tends to play their best here in Lincoln. You kind of throw out what happens against them in the regular season. They tend to play even beyond their seed, even though they were in the eyes of many the favorite here in Class C1 this year. So you've got the All-City Final for Wahoo. Turn out the lights when you leave. Last person out of town tomorrow. That happened again in 2014. Neumann won big in that one. Neumann and Wahoo played in the regular season. Neumann won that one by 29. So Wahoo with a lot to get revenge on. But how about the 3rd place game? Columbus, SCOTUS, and Winnebago for 3rd place. You got marquee matchups all over Lincoln tomorrow.
The fans are definitely going to be getting their money worth. And I'll be honest, I maybe a little biased, thought that was going to be our championship game, Winnebago and SCOTUS. But it's going to be 3rd place. And like any 3rd place game, it's a matter of if the players want to show up, play for pride. But a rematch of the 2015 championship in the third place game. And talking to head coach Tyler Swanson, he said, we've beat everybody on our schedule at least one point or the other, except Winnebago. They played them once, and Winnebago took care of them. So he said, if there is some motivation to play for, it is to say, hey, everybody we played, we've beat at least once, and they have to beat them in that third place game if they want to accomplish that goal.
Meanwhile, shout out to all the Class C1 programs. Fans showed up in a big way today. This place was rocking this morning. All four of those teams, a big part of that.
Well, let's take a look at this Class C1 bracket. The Class A game is wrapping up, and Norfolk is still sitting very, very well. For all you Norfolk fans at home, that is good news, but it's the all-Wahoo final. You see it right here. The Warriors taking care of Winnebago 55-52. Again, this bracket brought to you by Faith Regional Physical Therapy. Bishop Neumann downing Scotus in the semifinals 48-36. It is all Wahoo taking on in the championship rather. That is at 9 a.m. That's our early game on Saturday right here at PBA.
Should be a good one. Going to be a very fantastic matchup there in Class C1. Big thanks to Faith Regional Physical Therapy for providing those brackets for us this evening. So that's Class C1. Class D1 featured a matchup in the semifinals between two teams that many thought may have been the favorites when the postseason began. The defending champs, Lord Central Catholic out of Nebraska City, and Lutheran High Northeast, a team that took some teams and fans by surprise this year with how well they were able to pull it together this year. Who pulled it together down the stretch in this one? Let's check out the highlights. Class D1 semifinals at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. Lord Central Catholic, the defending champs, taking on Lutheran High Northeast. Eagles start off well. Good ball movement there. Results in a Blake Freudenberg 2. The Eagles up early. Good passing again leads to a 3 from the far side. Matthew Becker off the bench with the triple, and the Eagles up early. Lord Central Catholic starts to respond. Quentin Vasa, the 6'8 senior, had a great game in this one. Beautiful play there for the Knights. Vasa finished with 10 points and 4 rebounds. Meanwhile, Lutheran High's big man doing work. Caleb Gebhardt, a tough one-on-one matchup. He had 11 and 8 in this one. Strong drive here to the rack, sacrificing the body is Thomas Ragland to get the finish. Lutheran High down low. Good move there by Jackson Kent. Eagles getting good production off the bench. Waning moments now. First half at the buzzer. Good for Ty Pape. And we're tied at the break. The Eagles heading into the locker room, trying to maybe make a halftime adjustment or two. Second half, though, Lord Central Catholic found their shot. Ragland outside. Lord Central Catholic only 1 of 10 from beyond the arc in the first half. That certainly changed after the break. This 3 from Hayden Miller.
I would say we got the same shots in the first half as we did in the second half, but I think we just got better inside-out touches in the second half, and we got more shots and better rhythm. And and this is kudos to our kids; they just made plays.
Off the rebound here, another play made by the Knights. Ragland from the corner gets the shooter's roll. Had 3 triples in the third quarter as Lord Central Catholic extends their lead. Tough stretch of basketball for Lutheran High, trying to get back in it. Their coach, Darren Sucksdorf, actually got tossed from the game, picked up 2 technicals in a stretch that allowed Lord Central Catholic to stretch a 4-point lead to 10. And the Knights just kept making plays here off the made bucket. Eagles don't get back defensively. The Knights going to make them pay on the other end. Brock Hoagland with the finish, and Lord Central Catholic onto their second straight state title game, 47-39 the final over the Eagles.
And last year we had a good run, and then this year we're back into it. So that's a kudos to these guys. The senior class has been really extraordinary. They've won a lot of games in their 4 years, and being played in the 3 state tournaments, for them is awesome.
At the Bob Devaney Sports Center for NCN Sports, I'm Eric McKay. So Lord Central Catholic trying to do something that hasn't been done in 14 years. That's win back-to-back titles in Class D1. Spencer Naper went unbeaten back-to-back years, 02-03. Won the Class D1 title for 2 years in a row. And now Lord Central Catholic, Brandon, will have a chance to do that tomorrow afternoon.
Well, you heard the coach talking about this special group of seniors. Just 5 visits to state for Lord Central Catholic, but they're starting to build a little dynasty of their own. The championship last year, potentially back-to-backs, and it'll be interesting to see what the Knights do tomorrow and who they'll be playing.
As far as who they'll be playing, the other semifinal matchup was not one that people were expecting. All Northeast Nebraska and all lower seeds. The 5 seed Randolph won the title 3 years ago. Guardian Angel Central Catholic, the 8 seed, they won the title 6 years ago. Who will be playing for a title tomorrow? Let's check out the highlights.
Guardian Angels Central Catholic will be sending its second basketball team to the state finals this season, with the boys taking down Randolph to punch their ticket on Friday. Randolph and GACC battled through 2 quarters, with the Blue Jays coming out hot, outscoring the Cardinals 18-8. Randolph responded strong in the second quarter, though, with a big run of their own, outscoring GACC 18-9 to bring the game back to 1. Comeback wouldn't last long, though, as the Blue Jays would put up 30 points in the final half, holding Randolph to 19. Blue Jay head coach Brad Slaughter says after a slow second quarter, defense was the key to getting the offense efficiency back on track.
Tighten the screws, pressure, make things harder on Nordus and number 12, and we just wanted to bring full court pressure. We noticed in a few games previously that might have given them a little bit of problems in the past, and we're small. We like to get after it, and we did.
Randolph head coach Mark Anderson says this team has put some great sequences together, but just had a few slow periods that proved to be too much to overcome.
We need a few more things to happen today to be successful. Early on, we gave them too many easy points, and you kind of look at how many easy points they got early in the game. It might have probably been the difference, but you know, we had our periods where we came back and played pretty well offensively and defensively, and then we had that spell from the third quarter to the middle fourth quarter. We weren't making any shots, so that happens in basketball sometimes. You got to get through it.
The GACC family is fresh off the girls' state championship run from the past week and will be heading back to the Pinnacle Bank Arena to see if the boys can snag a championship of their own. GACC was 11-13 heading into the postseason play when they began their Cinderella story that will result in a shot at the state championship against Lourdes Central Catholic at 11 a.m. on Saturday at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Randolph will face Lutheran High Northeast in the consolation game at 1 p.m. at Lincoln East. I'm Grant Ott, News Channel Nebraska.
So Guardian Angels Central Catholic for the 5th time playing for a state championship. The last time they were in the title game, they won it. They beat Howells High that year, their rival, in the championship game, and now they get a team that not really familiar with in Lord Central Catholic. LCC will try to win 2 in a row, but those scrappy 8 seeds, we saw it last week with an 8 seed playing for a title, Brandon, and now this week GACC trying to ride the wave of momentum after the girls team won last week. They'll try to make it 2 for the school this winter.
And the schools and communities always love that when that can happen, boys and girls state championships. But the battle-tested Blue Jays, we talked about it last night. Coach Slaughter is on to something, and because of that schedule they played, they are peaking at the right time. Just a game above 500 entering this one, but it's fun to watch, too, having our Norfolk Bureau and our Nebraska City Beatrice Bureau. We have 2 teams going at it in Class D in terms of championships.
Yeah, Northeast versus Southeast Nebraska going to be a very interesting matchup. Guardian Angels, not the tallest team. Lord Central Catholic has the tallest player on the floor every time they take the floor with Quentin Vasa, so we'll see who comes out on top there. Let's take a look at the Class D1 brackets. Thanks to Faith Regional Physical Therapy, there you see Lord Central Catholic, the 8-point victory over the Eagles of Lutheran High Northeast, while Guardian Angels Central Catholic a 12-point win over Randolph. And so your third place game is a rematch of Lutheran High's other loss in the postseason to Randolph in the sub-districts. That was part of what helped Randolph get to this tournament. So now those 2 teams will play each other for third place. And then the 11 a.m. game, Lord Central Catholic, Guardian Angels Central Catholic. LCC going for their 2nd straight, Guardian Angels going for their 4th all-time title tomorrow morning.
Well, 2 classes down, 4 to go. Coming up on the NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show, we're going to recap Class B and Class C2, so do not go anywhere. We'll be back live from Pinnacle Bank Arena.
At Midwest Bank, our business service is more than just a place for deposits and loan payments. We are here to help your business run more efficiently and be more successful. You deserve products that will make daily operations smoother and a banker who is working to build a stronger financial relationship with you. Visit your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC.
If you need therapy to recover from a surgery or a sports-related injury, Faith Regional Physical Therapy has a specialist for you.
Not all physical therapy is the same. Choose a team that delivers the best results.
Results come from having an advanced trained therapist working exclusively with you the entire session.
So no matter what type of therapy you need, we have the right specialist for you at Faith Regional Physical Therapy.
I understand that you work hard away from home, and when you get home, it should be comfortable. Hi, I'm Jay from Noakes. Noakes has been keeping people comfortable in southeast Nebraska and northern Kansas since 1961. And our highly trained technicians are available to handle all of your service issues, no matter what brand it is. So call the friendly folks at Noakes today and let us keep you comfortable all year long.
At Midwest Bank, service is more than our interaction with our customers. It is understanding the change in the banking process and how we can better serve our clients. Midwest Bank is changing the way that you can bank with the Midwest mobile app. This app allows you to transfer funds between accounts, make loan payments, and deposits. Anytime, anywhere. You can even pay your bills from the palm of your hand. Find out more at your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal of Nebraska has been providing long-term, high-performance roof assemblies for over 35 years. Guarantee works through all of Northeast and North Central Nebraska with solutions to your roofing and sheet metal needs. They offer a complete line of options for Main Street businesses, commercial facilities, and industrial plants. Rest assured that all work is done by Guarantee employees, never subcontracted. That's Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal in Norfolk.
And welcome back to the NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show, live at Pinnacle Bank Arena, brought to you by Midwest Bank. Brandon Axman, Eric McKay with you. The game behind us has wrapped up, and good news for our viewers in Norfolk and Northeast Nebraska. The Panthers returning to the Class A state championship.
That they are. The Panthers beat Omaha South, avenge one of their losses from earlier in the season, a 53-38 victory. Norfolk getting the victory over Omaha South. They'll play in the Class A state championship game tomorrow. First time in 7 years. We'll have highlights from that one coming up.
And we'll break that one down as well, like Mr. McKay said. But before we do, this segment is about Class B and Class C2. Now in our first matchup, we had Aurora and Scotts Bluff going at it, and we talked about it last night. A lot of history in the postseason. The past 3 times that Aurora has been to state, they've been knocked out by the Wildcats, or excuse me, by the Bearcats, and they were trying not to have that streak continue, but that's easier said than done. Class B semifinal, Aurora taking on Scotts Bluff, number 2 versus number 3, as the Huskies trying to avoid being knocked out of state 4 consecutive times against the Bearcats. Starting things off, Henry Penner getting the lay-in, and then Tommy Leiniger taking it to the rack. Aurora had a great start to this contest. Actually led 17-14 after the first quarter of play. You see the sophomore Baylor Shireman dialing it up from the wing. He could knock it down from just about anywhere on the court. And then do not leave Trent Wilson open. He'll knock down the mid-range jumper every time. So it's a 3-point lead for the Huskies after the first 8 minutes of play. But Josiah De Olos for Scotts Bluff, he came off the bench and had a tear in the second quarter. Scored 6 consecutive points to really hurt Aurora in that period. But Austin Allen, the 6'9 senior, getting the hook shot to fall. He had 5 points on the night. But Drew Cookshausen, if you don't know his name, you do now. The senior dropped 39 points for the Bearcats as Scotts Bluff outscores Aurora 22-11 in the second quarter and takes a 34-28 lead in the half. But Tommy Leiniger, he was getting to the rack all night. Cookshausen had 39. Leiniger had 38 as the Huskies trying to make a comeback in the second half. Baylor Shireman pulling up in transition well beyond the arc. It does not matter. That shot cut the lead to 5. Aurora valiantly trying to make a comeback, but it was not meant to be. Landon Walker with the dunk puts the nail in the coffin, and Scotts Bluff goes on for the 76-67 victory.
Fortunately, they've got our number. They've got us the last 4 times now that we've made it down here. So, and hats off to them. They played really well, and we kind of got out of our groove there for a while, and we let some kids do some things that we just can't let happen. But they got a nice team and played well.
Now in that fourth quarter, Aurora just could not get close. 61 points were scored between the two teams, but Cookshausen knocked down 16 free throws on 16 shots down the stretch that did not allow the Huskies to get back into the contest.
Yeah, we absolutely couldn't keep the ball out of Drew's hands. We tried a couple different things, and he's just good at getting open. And he even run guys off of our guy to get open. Very smart player, very heady player, and yeah, he at least he hit the rim, I think, the last couple of times. But besides that, I think he was hitting nothing but net for most of them.
Aurora graduates 5 seniors, and the group has been the most successful in program history.
Oh, I just thank them for everything they did. You know, we're 25-2 2 years in a row. It's a team that has accomplished a lot. Like I said, 50 wins. That's the most. These seniors will graduate with the most wins of any team in the history of Aurora basketball. So, you know, they have nothing to be ashamed of.
With the victory, Scottsbluff faces Gretna in the Class B final on Saturday at 1 p.m. I'm Brandon Axmit in Lincoln reporting NCN Sports Now. And sometimes a team just has your number, and unfortunately for Aurora, that apparently is Scottsbluff. Could not get it done. Scottsbluff returns to the championship. But this Aurora team, I had a chance to talk to Coach Leininger. You heard how they are the best group in program history in terms of the wins they've amassed. Tommy Leininger, Austin Allen, both starting since they were freshmen. Coach Leininger said, we have some JV players that are coming up, and he does not expect a lot of drop-off, Eric. The unfortunate thing for the younger guys on a program like Aurora is you don't get to play varsity. But he said, I saw more dunks in our JV games than our varsity contests, and that's saying something when you have Austin Allen at 6'9", Henry Penner at 6'5", but he does not expect it to be a rebuilding year. Penner's coming back, Baylor Shireman, the sharpshooting sophomore, so it'll be fun to watch the Huskies next year. Unfortunately, though, their season again ends at the hands of Scottsbluff in the semis.
Yeah, and remember, Aurora was the team that made everybody think twice a bit about Class B. At the beginning of the year, everybody just kind of assumed Gretna was going to run away with everything. Then Aurora beats Gretna, and everybody goes, whoa, how good is this Aurora team? Everybody started to step up and realize just how good they were. It's a great run. Doesn't sound like it's going to be ending anytime soon.
And admittedly, when Aurora plays its best, they're very tough to beat. And unfortunately, though, Scottsbluff did just that. Cookshausen, 40 points, or 39, we'll give him 39,
yep.
But they were trying to get back. He literally, 16 for 16 from the charity stripe, just it did not allow Aurora to get back into things, unfortunately for them, but that's the sign of a gamer and a senior doing something quite well. So let's take a look at the Class B bracket as it is shaken out. Gretna is the team that Scottsbluff will be playing. They took care of Alliance in that semifinal game. And again, this bracket brought to you by Faith Regional Physical Therapy. So, Eric, some history. It's the same 2 teams as last year. Gretna came out on top, but Scottsbluff has a chance for revenge in this championship, which will be played at 1 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, and Scottsbluff may have history on their side here. Now, the last time the same 2 teams played back-to-back in Class B was in 2012-2013. Scottsbluff was involved in that. A lot of folks remember Tony Siski's coming out party as a state championship coach when Scottsbluff upset South Sioux City in 2012. The next year, both teams played each other again, and South Sioux got revenge in 2013. So if history holds, with Gretna winning last year, Scottsbluff may be thinking they'll be getting revenge this year. I guess we'll have to see.
That's why we play the game, and that's why in Class C2 they played the game. Hastings St. Cecilia had a tough opponent.
In Class C2, we saw the very definition of that's why they played the game. There may not have been a team considered a higher favorite in any class coming into this state tournament than Hastings St. Cecilia. Today, they ran into a team that hasn't seen state in 26 years, and it did not go as expected. First semifinal game in Class C2, Neely Oakdale against Hastings St. Cecilia. And St. Cecilia playing well early on. This is Blaine Boyd getting great position down low. He had a huge first half for the Blue Hawks. Here off the nice feed, finishing in traffic. Boyd was a beast in the first half as St. Cecilia takes the early lead. Neely Oakdale, though, hanging around off the turnover. The break, Tyson Beelitz starts it, finds Grant White, who was a monster in this game. White with the finish. Warriors hanging around. More from Boyd, hits the jumper here, had all 14 of St. Cecilia's second quarter points, finished with 25 for the game. But more great defense from Neely Oakdale leads to offense for Beelitz, 2 of his 14 points. And the Warriors hanging around at the break, making their fans happy? Yeah, we'll go with happy there. Meanwhile, out of the break, Neely Oakdale, Grant White drills the 3. That gives the Warriors their first lead.
Before the game started, we knew we could play with them. And then at halftime, we were like, all right, down 2, we got this. And then, yeah, that shot really opened it up. And then we knew we could play with them from there.
White was unconscious from beyond the arc. 6 3-pointers, including that heat check triple from the corner.
When you're on like that, the hoop just looks bigger, and yeah, it just goes in more.
Shots went in the second half for Neely Oakdale. They hit a lot of free throws late. They get the win, 55-50, a huge upset over the top seed.
This is a very, very good Neely Oakdale team, and I thought that maybe, this was going to be one of those battles that we were going to have to really, really play well, and they shot it excellent. Tonight we didn't make enough shots on our end, but you got to give them a lot of credit. The town of Neely is a prideful community, and they did a nice job.
It's been awesome. The whole town's been out to support us, and it's been really nice. It's been a lot of fun.
And now the fun will continue for Neely Oakdale, playing for their first ever state title in Class C2 on Saturday. At the Devaney for NCN Sports, Eric McKay. A bizarre finish to the game. Neely Oakdale won despite not hitting a field goal. In the final quarter, it was all free throws, but their defense was the difference in this one. They ran a 2-3 zone, and Grant White hit threes, and that became contagious. The team hit 10 threes on the afternoon, and when you start hitting those shots in a row, the defensive intensity picks up. Hastings St. Cecilia could not get comfortable at all in the second half. This was, talking to all kinds of people around Lincoln, this was the buzz as far as the upset of the tournament. There is nobody that thought Neely Oakdale was going to get this win. Found a way to do so, and now for the first time since 1939, Oakdale made the Class B state championship game and lost to Beaver Crossing. We all remember that classic. For the first time since then, Neely Oakdale will be playing for a state championship.
Well, it seems like they're about due in 1939. That's a long time. Let's get the history books a little bit updated with Neely Oakdale. But again, surprising, you said 10 3-pointers, and Hastings St. Cecilia, they pride themselves on defense. They play hard man, and if you're knocking down 10 triples against a Kevin Asher team, you're doing something right, and a big reason why they got the victory. Now, the good thing for Hastings St. Cecilia, they lose Grant Schmidt and Austin Esch, but when you're a younger team that has rebuilding years in terms of losing 6 seniors last year, you have guys that are coming back, guys like Trey Asher, Grant Farmer, as well as Blaine Boyd, their cornerstone inside, so very much expect to see them back here next year.
They're going nowhere. They still have Kevin Asher as a head coach, one of the best in the state. So yes, Hastings St. Cecilia more than likely will be back here next year. They'll have the third place game. So Neely Oakdale moves on to the championship game. Who are they going to play? Well, it'll be either Ponca or Elmwood Murdoch, the runner-up from a year ago. Let's check out the highlights of that one.
Thanks to some strong free throw shooting, Ponca was able to hold off a late surge by the Elmwood Murdoch Knights to earn their spot in the state championship on Saturday. Indians and Knights played fairly even in the first quarter, going into the second quarter 9-8 in favor of the Knights, thanks in part to 2 3-pointers from Zachary Rust. Ponca separated themselves slightly in the second quarter, outscoring Elmwood Murdoch 14-7 and making 8 of 8 free throw attempts. Coming out in the second half, both teams started slow, with Elmwood scoring 6 and Ponca scoring 5. Both teams would come raging back in the final quarter to score 23 points apiece. 14 of those points for Ponca came from the charity stripe, but unfortunately for the Knights, they were unable to eclipse the 5-point deficit and fell 50-45.
I'm an alumni from Ponca. I played in 2000. We were runner-up and made it to the state championship, so it means a lot to me to get these guys back. And I'm so proud of these guys. They work so hard. I think a Journal Star didn't have us ranked at the beginning of the season. And here we are. The guys believe, they kept working their butts off, and here we are.
Sophomore Wesley Dreamer had a big night for the Knights, leading all scorers with 21 points, with 12 of those coming in the final quarter.
We got to come back. We got to play the number 1 team in the state, and quote unquote, and let's see if we can go get them. We wanted to play St. Cecilia anyway. Now we got to play them. It's at the wrong venue, but we'll try and get them.
Ponca will play Neely Oakdale at the Pinnacle Bank Arena at 4:30 on Saturday, while the Knights will face the Blue Hawks at 9 a.m. at Lincoln East in the consolation game. I'm News Channel Nebraska's Grant Ott.
So, last year's championship game is for third place this year between Elmwood Murdoch and Hastings St. Cecilia. Ponca, meanwhile, you saw Coach Pilevsky mention their runner-up finish in 2000 when he was a player. Ponca won the title 10 years ago. In 2007, have not been back since, but now they do have an opportunity to play for a title. Interesting, Ponca and Neely Oakdale, two teams from Northeast Nebraska, similar styles. They both like to play very good defense. Both can shoot. Ponca beat Winnebago earlier this year. Ponca can play. They didn't play in the regular season, though. Last time they played, you got to go back to last year, the shootout on the Elkhorn in Wisner, which, by the way, if you're looking for a holiday tournament to travel and watch sometime, head up to Wisner. Check out the shootout on the Elkhorn. Lutheran High Northeast, Wisner Pilger, Ponca, Pierce. They do it right up there. Oakland Craig plays there every once in a while. It's a great tournament. You win that tournament, it means something. Ponca won that tournament a couple years ago. Winnebago plays in that tournament as well. That's the last time these two teams played. Ponca won 42-40. A lot of the principals of those teams will be back on the court tomorrow. I'm expecting a close, very good game in the C2 title game.
And the thing that's going to be interesting to see is Neely Oakdale. You know, you have that emotional victory. You always talk about it in sports. Is there that letdown from having that big upset against Hastings St. Cecilia, or can you ride on that emotional high and take that into the championship game? Of course, Neely Oakdale, maybe them were the only people who thought they could be in this spot, but it's a matter of how they respond and carry it after knocking off, like you said, the solid favorite in Class C2 with Hastings St. Cecilia.
It can be very hard to do that, to try to come back from that, particularly against a team like Ponca that can stifle you, that can make your best turn into your worst. They're a very good defensive team. Very interesting matchup. I don't think it'll be very high scoring, but I think it'll be a close down-to-the-wire game in C2 tomorrow. So let's check out how things shook out in C2, courtesy of Faith Regional Physical Therapy. This check on the brackets. So there you go. 5 against 3, just like everybody thought, right? Neely Oakdale taking on Ponca. How about Neely Oakdale? This is a great run they've been on. Grant Wright, Tyson Bielitz, two very good players. They've done a great job this year, and that is a team that is rolling right along. They've got great support. The entire towns of Neely and Oakdale, it seems, are down here supporting them. So that will be a fun one, 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. This has been a fun one so far. We've got 4 classes in the books. We've got 2 to come. The big schools and the tiny schools, and a lot of very fun basketball coming up. That's next. You're watching live from Pinnacle Bank Arena with NCN Sports Now.
There's a difference between making a living and making a life. For your family, your children, for yourself. That's why we choose to run our bank the way we do. Because it's never just about banking. And we're not just another bank. Pinnacle Bank. The way banking should be.
Need a doctor? At Faith Regional Physician Services, you get not only a doctor, but an entire team behind your health.
Connecting the best talent, technology, and services with over 100 providers in over 20 specialties.
You get primary care doctors,
advanced care practitioners,
specialists, and surgeons,
working together to provide high-quality, seamless care.
Faith Regional Physician Services.
One provider network, connected for your health.
Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal has been Northeast and Central Nebraska's only full-service commercial roofing and light-gauge metal fabricator for over 35 years. Guarantee provides all in-house journeyman fabricators to service business, industry, churches, and hospitals by doing fabrication and installation of light-gauge pre-painted steel, aluminum, and copper. Exterior wall panels, standing seam roofs, and ductwork are just some of the applications available from the sheet metal professionals at Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Ken's U-Save Health Mart Pharmacy and Tammy's Hallmark Store in Crete provides the best personal service and products in southeast Nebraska. They will make sure that no question goes unanswered, and if you have a question, Ken or Carrie will personally sit down with you and discuss the issue. That's quality service you can count on. Also, while you're there, check out Tammy's Hallmark Store. It's full of gifts and cards for any occasion. So stop by Ken's U-Save Health Mart in Crete and see for yourself the best personal service and products in southeast Nebraska.
Welcome back to Live from the State Tournament here on NCN Sports Now alongside Brandon Axman. I'm Eric McKay. 4 classes down, 2 to go. We've been teasing them. Let's just get right to Class A. A huge game in Class A. A huge contingent of fans down here for the second night in a row. A sea of maroon closing things down at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Now, you would have thought PBA was in Northeast Nebraska and in Norfolk. In terms of looking behind us, not even exaggerating, I would say three-fourths of the bowl, maroon. All Panthers. Cheers were happening, eruptions were going on, and that was because the Panthers were playing good basketball.
Yeah, 2-1 advantage in fans, and at times it felt like a 2-1 advantage on the court. Let's take a look at the highlights as Norfolk gets the 53-38 victory over Omaha South today. And you see, there you go, you can scan the court and just see it's mostly maroon out there. And Logan Strom struggled a bit last night. I say struggled, he had 17 and 14, so you know. But he was on point tonight. The big man was dialed in. Here, Aguecarope called for the offensive foul. That one taken by Lane McCallum. He lives for those types of plays. Here, Matt Hagedorn played well tonight as well. Omaha South getting a run-out opportunity here. Beautiful breakaway dunk by the Packers, but Norfolk had a few of those themselves. Omaha South and Norfolk kind of going back and forth in the first half. Really wasn't until the second half when they broke the game open and started to pull away. There, Logan Strom. There you see the beautiful footwork. That's been the hallmark of his game all his career. Now off the broken play, McCallum for three, drills it, and then check out this play right here. This is how you know things are going well for you. This is the waning moments of the third quarter. Logan Strom. Sean Callahan tweeted out that he was standing on Falls City on the state of Nebraska at midcourt. Drills that one, just one of the many big shots that Norfolk hit en route to a 53-38 win over Omaha South. Lou Siefker was the man who called the game along with Andrew Wolf on NCN 94.7 earlier this evening. Lou, thank you so much for joining me. You and I called the game the first time these two teams played. It was the only time this year that Norfolk really seemed like a team that just got beat. Omaha South just handled them the last time they played. What was the difference this time?
Well, I thought in that first ball game, I thought Omaha South was the aggressor, especially in the second half. I thought they were the more physical team. They really took it to Norfolk, and they made some really good shots in that ball game, and Norfolk really went cold. Andrew and I both talked about this separately, that we noticed this, that Norfolk really came out to start this ball game, and you felt that sense of urgency. They were very keyed up. They're ready to go, and you've got 5 seniors in your top 8 rotation. It's a special group, and they know what's on the line. And I thought they came out from the get-go and were the aggressors in the ball game, and really played physical basketball game, attacked Omaha South, kind of made Omaha South at times on their heels a little bit. I thought that was important in the ball game here tonight.
I want to give you some credit. Early in the season, you were saying on air, off air, really to anyone that would listen, keep watching Norfolk. Eventually, Travis Larson is going to break out and be a star. How great is it that it's happened here at State with everyone watching? His play, it kind of started with the Fremont game, but he has been transcendent of late for the Panthers.
We dunked on a rope, for goodness sakes. I mean, that guy jumps out of the gym. Yeah. I mean, he never ceases to amaze me. He took that one baseline and threw it down, and well, what can you say about Travis Larson? But he was a difference maker. I don't remember how many points he had, and it wasn't a lot. But he was one of the players that really started that ball game aggressively. He had the drives. He had some good driving dishes. And, he was one of those players that set the tone, one of those seniors that really came out with that intensity and that sense of purpose in this ball game. And I think he showed that he's got that flair for the dramatic. Yeah. But he played very well tonight, and those seniors just all played a great basketball game here tonight.
Anytime it seemed like the offense was stagnant, it seemed like he was the one who would drive to the rack and get them recharged again. Logan Strom dialed in tonight. That was as good as I've seen him this season.
We had him for 21-9, 21-10, whatever he had. He had a great game. That half-court shot, that's about 50 feet or so. I mean, bank shot. We were talking about you got to close out on the shooters. You got to get on Logan Strom anywhere on the court. But he came to play. He had that look in his eyes that you and I saw in the Kearney game at the GNAC tournament. He was very focused, again, as all the seniors were. They were ready to play.
All right, so now you get to bookend the season. This season began with a classic, a double overtime game against Papillion La Vista. They get Papillion La Vista again. 2 very different teams since then, but at the core, still the same. What's the key in the game tomorrow?
Well, I think you're going to have to come out and be the aggressor again. I think you got to set the tone. You can't let Papillion La Vista, you can't let the Monarchs be the team that says this is how we're going to play. You've got to be the team to do that. I thought they did that tonight. The one thing to look for at the end of the ball game for Papillion La Vista, Ed Chang was limping noticeably. That's something to watch tomorrow because he's a difference maker. The other thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to try to get the ball out of Oyo Akinwale's hands. He was the difference, really, probably more so than Chang. The first time these two teams played, he's a great player. So even if Ed Chang isn't 100% healthy, you got a great point guard for the Monarchs. You're going to have to control him.
Probably the two best distributors of the basketball in the game tomorrow with Oyo Akinwale and Lane McCallum. I think those are probably the two best passers in the state of Nebraska. Lou, I think it's going to be you and I calling the game on the radio tomorrow.
Whoever it is, I'm excited. Let's do it now. Let's play that game right now.
I'm ready to go right now. It's going to be
It'll be fun.
Lou, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Eric.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, we kind of already spoiled it for you. It's Papillion La Vista. They had to play Kearney. It was a good game. A lot of fun plays in this one. Check out the highlights.
The Kearney student section proving they can not only cheer, but they can also sing. Number 4 Kearney was taking on number 1 Papillion La Vista. Cannon Coster continued his big weekend. Layups up and good. But Ed Chang, look at this dunk. He's leading number 1 Papillion La Vista. They would have the lead at the half. Here's a block by him. Let's fast forward to the end of the first quarter. Lob inside to Coster. Can't corral it, but he gets the layup at the buzzer. They were down 1 entering the second quarter. And in the second, passing the ball around back to Coster for 3. They would trail by 5 entering the second half. Here's Chang in the second half. A nice dunk in transition. Kearney would keep battling, though. Kick out, another 3 from Coster. He had 28. Big part of the second half, Ed Chang hurt his ankle on a drive inside, but would continue to play. Eventually, Papillion La Vista proven to be too much as they would run past Kearney in the final minutes to get the victory over top of the Bearcats, 62-50 to head to the A finals.
That was our first loss in 2017, and to be a Class A team and to be able to do that is just it's beyond our wildest belief. And then I asked our kids, I said, hey, in an honest assessment, did you ever think starting the year that we could be sitting in Pinnacle Bank losing to the number 1 team in the state and having a chance of going and playing the state championship? And every one of them said no. You know, it was pretty far out there.
Cannon Coster would finish with 66 points in 2 days.
You know, I told these guys all the time, I've came up short a lot in my life, and I think that's the one thing that's continued to make me drive and be a better person, a better coach, a better husband, a better father, whatever it is. And, you know, I think you can learn from these situations. Not everybody can win. Not everybody can win a state championship. It's how you respond in those situations. So, you know, hopefully they learn that they take this as a life lesson and they continue to be better people because of this game.
Reporting in Lincoln, I'm Jay Hanna, NCN Sports Now.
So Papillion La Vista and Norfolk in the Class A state championship. Brandon Axon back with you as well as Tom Villianco. We've swapped with Eric McKay and Lou Sievker. We're going to break this one down. So you saw the game, Tom, Kearney and Papillion La Vista. Before we take a look at that championship, what was it that you saw in that one that allowed Papillion La Vista to come out on top?
Brandon, thanks for having me again on TV here. The first half, it was kind of the Ed Chang and Io show. They came out pretty strong, some aggressive dunks, and to get them up pretty early. I think Ed Chang had 3 blocks, 4 points, one of them being a nice dunk to start off. And then in the second, Io started doing his thing, as he's one of the best point guards, if not the best point guard in the state. And going into halftime, had a nice little lead, and then it got a little interesting there with Kearney. Coster obviously played a phenomenal tournament, one of the best juniors in the state as well. But, yeah, they hung on, and as we'll probably talk about, Ed had a little injury there in the third quarter, made things interesting.
Yeah, very good news if you're a Norfolk fan. Ed Chang, the star for Papillion La Vista, hobbled a little bit on that ankle, and you said you were kind of monitoring him after you saw him have that injury, and you even had a chance to talk to him after the game a little bit. What's his situation, or at least your analysis from what you saw after that happened?
Well, I think I told you last weekend, Brandon, I work with Ed Chang, do some individual stuff, and Yeah, I've never seen him grimace like that when he's kind of rolled an ankle or had any kind of injury. Saw him after the game, was icing, said he'll be able to go tomorrow, but the way he was kind of limping around in the third and fourth quarter did not look very good. I'm sure he'll play. Percentage-wise, definitely won't be 100. So playing against Norfolk, they played earlier in the year. I want to say first game, double overtime, lost by 10. Norfolk did. So I know they have some revenge coming, and the way that Logan's playing, Lane's playing, and I think Larson? Travis Larson, with his dunks, they're going to be ready to roll. And I know they're going to be bringing the crowd, as we talked about earlier. It's going to be packed.
And Chang, the player you talked about with that injury, you've played professional basketball overseas, and you know what it's like to sort of battle through that. So specifically right now, what does Chang need to do, and how do you try to at least alleviate the pain or play through something? Because like you said, it's state championship game. There's one more game to go, and if you can get out on the court and you're one of the best players, you're going to want to do so.
Well, the adrenaline's obviously going to be there, so that'll help initially. I'm concerned about the overcompensating. With his ankle being a certain way, you try to start walking a different way to alleviate that pain. I've done it before. It's not a smart thing. I think a lot of guys, when they roll their ankles pretty bad, they'll do it. So that next few days, the whole thing will be hurting. So told him to just, hey, try and stay off your feet as much as possible. Don't try and walk on it. And hopefully he doesn't do too much until 6:30 tip tomorrow night. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see game time how he feels.
And now if you're Norfolk, how do you approach this one? Do you take it differently? Do you try to double-team Chang, or do you game plan to sort of count on that injury, or how do you go about the state championship?
I think you double him, pressure him for sure. If you see him coming out tomorrow night, kind of hobbling around, not 100%, then I think any team would play a little differently and throw a double team at him, try to pressure him as much as possible. And on defense, I got to believe if Ed's not 100%, they'll probably pack it in a little bit, a little 2-3 to try to preserve him and not expose him too much, which, as we saw tonight, if you try to play a little zone on Norfolk, you're probably not going to win because they can shoot, and they've obviously been shooting really well this tournament. So,
well, as we wrap up talking about Class A, you've seen all the top talent across the state. You've seen these players play. You've seen Norfolk play. What is it that impresses you about what the Panthers do and that you see this thing playing out tomorrow?
I just love the way that Norfolk has a senior-laden team. Guys have been through the trenches for 4 years. They just have that hunger right now. I mean, Logan was hitting a little bit past the half court, buzzer beater to the end of the third. I told Lane before the game, I think he's the toughest kid, if not one of the toughest kids in this whole state. Air Force commit, obviously, for football. And the way that Travis Larson's dunking, drove baseline, went up on a Gueca rope. The whole place, I think, was mostly in shock because they never thought a curly-headed kid from Norfolk would be going baseline and throwing one down. But, yeah, I think this would be a great game. Io, obviously the UNO commit, I think is the best point guard, great passer, great court awareness. So it'll be interesting to see Peyton Priest, tall kid from the Monarchs. He'll have to step up big if Ed Chang's not 100%.
Well, let's take a look at the Class A bracket brought to you by Faith Regional Physical Therapy. There it is, Norfolk and Papillion La Vista, your championship. That is going to be played on Saturday at 6:30. The Panthers looking for their first state title since 1987. And like you said, this place was packed for the semifinal. Can only imagine how much maroon is going to be here at PBA coming up tomorrow on Saturday. Also, quickly, we'll talk about Class C1 as it's a Wahoo-Wahoo matchup, and you have some players that are going to be, that you know of, that are playing in that one.
Yes, it'll be an interesting C1 game. Wahoo versus Bishop Wahoo Newman. It was a 30-point loss for Wahoo last time they played. So Wahoo Newman obviously got the best of them, but championship game, the whole city of Wahoo will be here. It'll probably be a little bit different. I work with the Vedra boys on Wahoo Newman. I know they're hungry. I already talked to Noah, the UCF football commit. Talked to him earlier tonight and said he can't stand still. Probably won't be able to sleep tonight. That 9 a.m. tip will be here before you know it. And there's obviously bad blood whenever you got two schools in one city, but there's also a lot of family probably playing against each other. So it'll be a great atmosphere tomorrow morning, and hopefully Wahoo can make it a little bit more of a game than the last time, which I'm sure they will.
Well, Tom, as always, appreciate you stopping on, sharing your insight. We're looking forward to basketball tomorrow. We're looking forward to having you back on one more time as we wrap up state coverage.
Brennan, appreciate it.
We got one more class to talk about, and that is Class D2. We had Riverside. They've got third the past 2 years, trying not to do that for a third year in a row. They had to get past Mullen if they wanted to do that. John Kipper has more.
D2 action at Bob Devaney Sports Center. It is number 5 seed Mullen taking on the Riverside Chargers. They are the 1 seed in D2. The Chargers, this is their third straight semifinal appearance. They have fallen over the past 2 years. Can they get over the hump in 2017? Well, Riley Swartzik 3 will help them out. Mullen struggling early on, containing Riverside. Just so many weapons on this Charger team. Noah Velasic been good for so many years for the Chargers. We see the senior make a nice floater there. And then the freshman, Traden Prososki from long range going downtown. That's an NBA range 3 from the freshman. 11-0 start for Riverside. Mullen trying to figure out things defensively and offensively. Well, they would get going. Lance Moore able to dribble one through right there. 15 points in the game for Moore. He was the leading scorer for Mullen. And then Joe Vinton, he would only score 2 points. That's his only bucket of the game. A nice play there from Vinton, and then Ty Martinson getting into the action a little bit for the Chargers. He was one athletic player for Riverside. Velasic getting to the hoop as well. He's going to get fouled there. The and one puts this one at 18-8. Riverside looking good, but Mullen, they're going to make a little bit of a comeback. Nice play there from Sam Benton on the putback. He had 8 points in this affair, and then Martinson, what an athletic play by him. 29-26, Riverside holding a 3-point lead at the half. Prososki, another long-range three-pointer there. The freshman certainly looked good. 17 points for him. But Luke Christian now grabbing a bucket for Mullen, and then Martinson going to get fouled on that one for Riverside. Back and forth these two teams went in the second half. It was certainly very, very tight down to the wire. Both teams had shots, and Mullen was up by 1 point after 3 quarters as we see Martinson grab another bucket inside there. And then Brody McIntosh getting into the action a little bit. And then one more time, Lance Moore drills a 3-pointer. Now Mullen made a shot late to give themselves a 2-point lead. So last chance now for Riverside, and a bad pass will give this game to the Broncos. Mullen upsets Riverside 54-52. After the game, Riverside head coach Joe Imus said they got sloppy and allowed Mullen to come back.
We put on cruise control. That, you know, we've done that a lot this year. Obviously, against a little lesser opponents, but when you get up like that, you feel like, okay, we can do whatever we want, and Mullen fought back.
Mullen will play at 8:30 p.m. in the state championship Saturday night. Reporting in Lincoln for NCN Sports Now, I'm John Kipper.
So unfortunately for Riverside, they are back in the third-place game for a third consecutive year. They have one more game to play, but something about that semifinal, the Chargers just unable to get over the hump in. Credit to Mullen. I'll admit I didn't know anything about them coming into this state tournament, but they take down the Chargers, and after that first game yesterday for Riverside, putting up 70-plus points and getting a running clock, did not expect this result.
No, nobody did. Riverside was, well, let's face it, nobody expected anything that's happened in Class D2 to this point. This has been a bloodbath of a bracket, just teams dropping all over the place. Parkview Christian losing in the first round was a shocker. St. Francis losing in the first round, that was a shocker. And now it really only makes sense, I guess, at this point that Riverside, despite their playmakers, despite having 2 guys that average 20 points a game, and make no mistake, they'll be back. Prososki's a freshman. He'll be a star for years to come. They'll miss Velasic, but this team seems to, despite their size, they seem to reload rather than rebuild. So I have a feeling the Chargers will likely be down here at Lincoln, if not next year, then in years to come.
And we'll see if they can make it 3 years in a row taking home third place. We'll be at those third-place games, but the bigger question is who is Mullen going to be playing tomorrow? It was Meade and Wynot taking it on in the other side of the bracket. Wynot, the number 7 seed coming into this one. Meade, the number 3 seed. You see the student sections fired up, and the final score would actually end up being a 7-point victory. Who was it for? It was Meade getting the win, Eric.
So there you go. Yeah, and Wynot They were the 7th seed. They beat Parkview Christian. Had to feel almost invincible after that win. And why not? They're a team that they just always seem to do well. They're always at state. And they're always playing for championships, it seems like. And so here they were with an opportunity to make the championship game. But Meade, they're another team that's been sort of down here doing their thing, whether it's D1 or D2. They're a team that's got championship pedigree, that's been here quite a bit, and not surprised at all that Meade able to get the victory. So Meade versus Mullen, probably outside of Guardian Angels making the championship game, Meade-Mullen probably the least expected championship game. This is the first ever appearance for Mullen in a state championship game at state. This is their second appearance at state, period, since 1952. This is a success level that Mullen is not used to.
The Broncos are going to be ready to go. Meade made it to the championship last year. They did not win. You have to believe that Meade is going to want to wreck that and get the championship in Class D2. But Mullen, they have other ideas as well. So that wraps up our coverage here. The lights are dimming. That means it's time for us to go. We appreciate you staying with us a little bit later than normal, but Eric will be back tomorrow, same time, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. to wrap up everything.
Absolutely. 6 great championship games. We'll have highlights of all of them and the second place game or the third place games as well.
Midwest Bank bringing you this one. If you have not, check us out on Twitter at NCN Sports. Tweet us. We'll be having all of the tweets, actions, gifs, pictures, and videos tomorrow from the championships, as well as Facebook NCN Sports. Now we also have News Channel Nebraska, US 92 in Northeast Nebraska, and just a plethora of social media channels. But we're glad you're with us. We'll be live here tomorrow. He is Eric McKay. I am Brandon Axamit. 6 championships to go and a slew of third-place games. We'll have all the action on the NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show on Saturday.
At Midwest Bank, our business service is more than just a place for deposits and loan payments. We are here to help your business run more efficiently and be more successful. You deserve products that will make daily operations smoother and a banker who is working to build a stronger financial relationship with you. Visit your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC. At Midwest Bank, our business service is more than just a place for deposits and loan payments. We are here to help your business with you. Visit your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC.
If you need therapy to recover from a surgery or a sports-related injury, Faith Regional Physical Therapy has a specialist for you.
Not all physical therapy is the same. Choose a team that delivers the best results.
Results come from having an advanced trained therapist working exclusively with you the entire session.
So no matter what type of therapy you need, we have the right specialist for you at Faith Regional Physical Therapy.
Thank you for watching this live presentation of News Channel Nebraska Sports. We now return to our regular programming.
I understand that you work hard away from home.